Welcome back to the first Salt Lake City World Cup finals report, and we start with a female women's final, and it was awesome. First, we got to say a few things about this World Cup. Apparently the wall and the event organizers ordered steeper panels for the whole wall, but they did not arrive. Rumors say they wanted to have a 40-degree overhanging wall, but they ended up with something really slabby, not that steep, more vertical. In general, the wall profile was quite flat, and we are used to a little bit steeper climbing when it comes to the American World Cups. Let's see whether they change this for the next weekend or whether we will end up with the same wall. Would be really interesting if they would change the wall into a steeper panel. I think that would be pretty cool. The Routesetting was cool nevertheless. A big difference to the last Myring World Cup was that it was more than 2 holds companies, hold sponsors. This time more different holds and more different companies. I think it didn't look quite as good as Myring, but that's okay in my opinion. If you like these reports, feel free to support me on Patreon. Anything you give me goes straight into coffee or beer. So for me having a good time, thank you for that. And this is the first World Cup in a long time with no Janja Garnbret. She only competes in next week's Salt Lake World Cup, so we will have a new World Cup winner. Out of these 6 competitors, only Miho won one so far, but I will tell you this later, so let's jump straight in. Nikki out, have fun, see you soon. And these are our finalists: Oriane Bertone, Miho Nonaka, Pilz, Johanna Färber, Brooke Raboutou and Natalia Grossman. And we got some nice statistics. I did not calculate the top percentage and whether it's like they're all over career or just Salt Lake. I know the statistics is a little bit misleading because Jessica Pilz won 3 World Cups but not a single Bouldering World Cup. Only Miho Nonaka won Bouldering World Cups before. So 5 out of these 6 athletes have never won a Boulder World Cup before. It's also Brooke's first senior Boulder World Cup final, and looking back at the statistics, Miho Nonaka was the only one beating Janja Garnbret for a long time back in 2018, I think Moscow or Myring. But we start with boulder number 1, a delicate slab starting with a push. This is Oriane's first go, and we can see that the route setters love to use these heinous, itsy bitsy tiny footholds to stand on. I think this is a slab, otherwise it would be quite difficult. Well, it was difficult, especially the upper part and the last move. The left foothold is hidden underneath the zone hold, and the crims are no jugs, and now no right foothold and a big move, a throw to the left. In her first try she does not stick it. In her second try she's more successful and is able to control the last hold and climb boulder number 1 in 2 tries. What does dual takes mean? Well, Miho will show us. If you stand on top of the hold which has the slippery surface, you are not able to stand on the surface. She sent it anyway in her next try, but this could have been better, honestly, because she's an experienced competitor and should have known that it's not a smart idea to stand on top of the dual takes. Even though Jessie is one of the tallest of the field and the tallest in this final, she had problems with the last move. We can see right here that she was slipping too early. I paused the video when the girls were slipping, and while Johanna Färber slipped once she had the top hold and she was a little bit higher, pushing and pulling more with her right hand, Jessie wasn't able to do the top move, and she was also not pushing far enough to the left side over the foothold. Slight margins, slippery dual takes, just a mean move for the top. After Johanna we had only Brooke and Natalia left trying boulder number 1, and while Brooke started with her right foot up first, which cost her a lot of time, Natalia started with her left foot like the other girls did, and I froze her here so we can see how long it took Brooke in her first attempt and how difficult it was and how much flexibility she had to show off. The camera angle will change here, and this is some superb flexibility to solve this wrong position she was in. It's not wrong, but it took her way longer and was a little bit more exhausting, even though it's a slab. You can see on the left side there was a screw on the starting hand volume and the foothold. We don't have a close-up, but it's really tiny. This is their flash go, and while all the other girls were standing on the right hand side pull, Brooke has in her hand right now, Natalia went for a screw hold in the dual text hold, where they attach the volume to the wall. We can see it on the left side. It's really tiny. Brooke, on the other hand, tried to stand on the hold. Then she was like, oh no, that's not doing it for me. So she was standing in the bolt hold with her right foot, went into a bolt hold with her left foot, and both had a stable position for their left foot. Different height, different horizontal line, but nevertheless in the flash goes they were both able to find another stable position for their feet none of the other girls were thinking of, and were able to flash boulder number 1. Boulder number 1 was a quick session. It was flashed 3 times and it looked like a cool boulder. Or it was a cool boulder, but it didn't really look that appealing. Boulder number 2 was somehow worse, I gotta say. And it was intended to be a quick stand-up from this position. Apparently the route setters told the MCs that there was a way to do it quick and dynamic. No one tried to do it this way. Gotta spoil you right there. This is Oriane's flash go, and it's just left, right into the volume, left hand to the zone hold, which is a huge side pull, but turned out to be a big jug for the girls. And then after the zone, there were like 2 mean crimpers on the volume, but honestly, the top part didn't throw anyone off, and this boulder was done in just a minute. And another flash for Oriane in boulder number 2. Miho flashed it as well, and the only 2 girls not being able to flash it were Johanna Färber and Jessie Pilz. Jessie Pilz climbed it, but she needed a couple of tries, and in this sequence we can see where she fell. This barely moved to the zone, and the zone was quite good on top, but if you only get it a little bit lower, and if your left foot is not smearing against the wall, so your hip tilts a little bit like on the left side, you are not able to stick the move. Only Brooke and Natalia left, so another side-by-side comparison of their flash go in boulder number 2. And yes, why didn't I like the boulder? Well, I think it didn't look really appealing. It had a climbing style which was burly, okay, but even though it's burly, it's only in this position on this sequence. Do you see the left toe Brooke used to reach the zone? That was pretty smart, but I think once you had the zone, the boulder was way too easy. And with this huge zone hold where everybody could just hang and shake and think about what to do next, and then you were also able to skip the penultimate hold, I think a little bit more tweaking would have been great. But at this point I was like, oh, that's gonna be a boring flash go boulder round. But I was mistaken, because boulder number 3 and boulder number 4 made it really exciting. Oriane again starts boulder number 3, and do you see the left panel, like the dark gray panel on the corner side? That was not taped off, and maybe the route setters intended the star to be a different way, but like this, Oriane was able to stand up slowly to the right side, reach the huge flat hold sloper, and prepare for a big foot swap. Tuck tuck. Really well done, because that sloper is not good, I can tell you. And now the right side of the arete was also available to be used to get into a better body position, and now she reached the next 2 slopers, and then the part looked pretty easy just from looking at it, but it was more tricky than expected. Unfortunately, the camera work and the camera angles make it quite hard for me to analyze, but this is the crux move, moving from the side pull to this huge dual text pinch. I don't think there's a screw on underneath it, it's just a pure cheater dual text pinch. Oriane was not able to stick the move, so after 2 tops she fell down and didn't get a 3rd top. Miho also had 2 tops so far, and she used this corner to the left side. Problem was, once you are in the corner, it was difficult to shift your weight only onto the huge red foothold, so she misinterpreted it as a dynamic move, which was cool like this, but pretty difficult, and she wasted many tries. That was her second or third try already. Only 1 minute left. Still not sticking the move. Thank you, cameraman. That's a nice angle. And with 20 seconds left, she finally stuck the move. But it's not even the zone hold. The zone hold is the one afterwards. She was a little bit hasty looking at the watch. The next one is the zone hold, and that was not a controlled zone, unfortunately, for Miho Nonaka. There was a gap now for Jessie Pilz to take the leading position. She did it quite different. She palmed down with her right foot to stop the momentum, and then she moved slowly towards the zone. This angle is slightly overhanging, but probably only 5 to 10 degrees, not really steep. As mentioned before in the beginning, there wasn't a real steep part in the whole wall, but these slopers made it really difficult. She slipped, unfortunately. Even if she was not slipping, she was not able to execute the move and do the move. Her hip was too far away from the wall. Johanna Färber also wasn't able to do the move, so only Brooke and Natalia left. And Brooke, in her first try, did a solid traverse to the right, but also fell down on the crux move to the pinch. She looked way more solid though than all the other ones, and in her second try she was able to stick the move, and after this it was quite easy to finish the boulder, and she was the first one topping boulder number 3. We got to deal with a real bad camera angle, unfortunately, but the difference here between Brooke and Jessie is that Brooke on the left side, her right knee is pointing towards the left, so her hip can be really close to the wall, while Jessie's right knee is pointing towards the right. Her hip opens and moves far away from the wall when she's doing the move. I couldn't see whether Jessie got the pinch at all, but her hip was too far away from the wall and pulled her down, and she fell, and that's why Brooke was able to stick the move. Natalia messed up the first move in her flash go, and we can see on the right side that her hip is again too far away from the wall. Her right heel, once she hit the volume with her foot, tilts a little bit higher and rotates higher, so her hip moves away from the wall. She's not able to hold the move like this and to hold on to the sloper. She learned pretty quick, and in her second try executed the move perfect. You were able to see here how close the hip was to the wall. Here also really close with her hip. I think she didn't get the pinch right, but in her third try she was able to stick the move like Brooke and finish boulder number 3. And now we had a really close race of two best friends, because Brooke needed just one attempt less than Natalia, followed by Oriane, Miho, Jessie and Johanna going into boulder number 4. Boulder number 4 was pretty cool. Presentation was not that great, could have been better, but I think that's only what they had. But the moves were pretty cool. It started off with a dynamic stand up into a jump to the right. A little bit odd, you were able to stand and take a break on this volume because the lower panel was a slab, the higher panel is overhanging. You were able to see that it was quite confusing for Oriane. This is her third try. The execution was perfect. She was able to stand just a millisecond, then jump to the zone hold, a screw on this volume, which looks like a bed, and after this just some easy cruisy climbing. No one fell here. At least Oriane did not fall here on her way to the top. First climber out, first climber to finish boulder number 4 and 3 tries, and leading the group with 3 tops of 4 boulder problems. Oriane Bertone, thank you again for this beautiful climb, beautiful show, and just a display of technique, determination and dynamic explosiveness. Also very explosive, Miho Nonaka, my girlfriend's favorite climber on the circuit, sticking the dynamic move and then choosing a slightly different way to hold on to the top hold. Instead of a heel look on the right side, she palmed down on the left side and showed off her flexibility to raise her left foot, and done with boulder number 4. Thank you, Miho. Also a great show today at Salt Lake. It looked like a boulder which was quite easy and would probably just come down to the attempts to climb it, but Jessie had problems. quite severe problems just doing the jump, even though she's the tallest, or one of the tallest, because I think Johanna Färber is even taller, and maybe stepping through with the left leg and the hip turning out of the wall wasn't the smartest idea. Really difficult to say, but I think in general, the closer your hip is and the more straight up you can stand up really close to the wall, the easier it gets to get to the zone hold. Still not easy to catch it though. Comparison, Miho on the left side and Jessie on the right side, you see that Miho pushes and continues to push to the right while Jessie steps a little bit higher and maybe a little bit on the left side of the volume and is not able to transfer her weight to the right. The hip is too far away from the wall, as mentioned before. Jessie and Johanna both were not able to do the dyno. Brooke found herself standing on the volume, similar to Oriane, and almost stuck the zone hold. Next try, way better this time, but then the quality of the tries and attempts deteriorated. She got worse and worse, bending too low, falling down and backwards. With only 1 minute to go, standing on top of the volume, she never tried to do dynamic from the start again. She always tried to do this intermediate hop from the volume, and with only 14 seconds to go, she was not able to stick it, which left Oriane leading the pack, leading the group in first place. That was pretty heartbreaking because I assumed Brooke would do it, and I also assumed Natalia would be able to do it. In her second try, she almost got it. She was with her left hand already on the red screw on. Third try, and sooner to Brooke, it got worse and worse. She stumbled into the wall, only 2 minutes to go. Stumbled off the wall again, and did she get nervous? The pressure in front of her home crowd got worse and worse. With only 1 minute 20 to go, she tried it dynamic all the time. Then she stumbled again into the wall, slipped off, only 1 minute left. She tried to find some patience and to concentrate, and with 40 seconds left, she tried it one more time, fully dynamic, exploded to the zone hold, stuck the zone hold, and Natalia Grossman, what a show, really, really great. There must have been a lot of pressure, like so much pressure in front of her home ground, knowing that Oriane topped it and probably knowing that Oriane would have won if she wouldn't have topped it. Congratulations, Natalia Grossman, in her second senior final. After finishing third in Meiringen, she finishes first here in Salt Lake, first American to win on home ground for ages. I don't know. I think Alex Johnson was the last time. I don't even know whether an American won on home soil, but congratulations, really great show. And her best friend Brooke also on the podium, finishing in third place. That was a dream come true for both of them. That's what they said in the interview. Would have been really interesting whether Brooke would have been able to do the move just from the volume, but also pretty cool to see here that Natalia jumped with both feet onto the volume on the left side, while Miho only used her right foot to execute and launch from the volume to the zone hold. Sick move, and yeah, I'd like to see a revenge, if you can call it, by Brooke Raboutou probably next week. This is our final ranking. Natalia Grossman, the only climber able to climb all 4 boulder problems. Oriane with 3, followed by Brooke and Miho also with 3. Then Team Austria with only 1 boulders tops each. A little bit disappointed, I gotta say, because the boulders were not too difficult, not too hard, and also not too complex or too tricky, but they were spot on. We were able to enjoy a huge dramatic show towards the end, and with 15 attempts for 4 tops. Congratulations again, Natalia Grossman. Great show, and the first climber after Janja Garnbret, who did not compete here, but who will compete next weekend in Salt Lake again. This will be a great battle for Salt Lake World Cup number 2. Thanks so much, and thank you again also Oriane Bertone for putting on a great show. The French put on a great show. Stay tuned for the male final, where we have another French starter who, stay tuned and see you soon for the male final. Niki out, stay climb, keep parkour. Bye bye.